Basically, I just go through the shop. Nagkukwento ko konti about some of the builds that we've done, that we have pending, some of the work that we're doing, some of the new items that we have on stock. Generally, I like to do it on a holiday. So, pag walang tao sa shop. I have done it before with people in the shop, but it's a little awkward. Like even it's weird. Like I'm monologuing to the camera, but we have techs running around, or we have customers running around. So I try to do it on a holiday, and what better time than the long holiday? Update lang on our holiday schedule. We are closed today, and that's the last day that you need to worry about kasi the rest of the time open na kami. So starting tomorrow onwards, kahit tomorrow is a holiday, we'll be open tomorrow, and then onwards, we'll be open tomorrow onwards. Sup, Renan Matthew? Sorry, medyo I'm streaming from my laptop, so medyo maliit yung medyo maliit yung font size. Sup? All right. So before we get any further, let us do the usual sponsor shout out.
Sawa ka na ba sa unactivated Windows mo? Well, lucky you! Pinakabago mula sa cdkeyoffer.com. Windows 10 and Windows 11 activation codes. Legit, safe, at pinakamura. Madali lang umorder. Hanapin ang Windows version na gusto mo. Piliin ang preferred payment method. Wala pang 5 minutes, nag-CDK ka na para sa Windows mo. Marami na kaming natulungan.
Dati, sad and depressed ako. But now, I found the love of my life.
Dati, aimless and walang purpose ang life ko. But now, I'm a world-class Zumba instructor.
So, web developer ako and content creator for a YouTube channel. And ngayon, ganun pa rin ako pero activated na yung Windows ko.
Kaya kung naghahanap ka ng legit, mura, at original software,
Check out cdkeyoffer.com.
Check out cdkeyoffer.com.
Check out cdkeyoffer.com.
So I hope you've been enjoying the long holiday. No holiday today. It's not a holiday for me. So live from the shop, and then afterwards I'll be shooting a couple of videos. It is medyo nakakapagod to keep videos in the pipeline because we do have several editors or part-time editors right now. And then if I don't shoot something, then they're not working on something. So there's, it's an entire process. And then usually ako yung bottleneck. Yan yung best example of bottleneck. When one party or one component is waiting for the work of another component, yung where natatagalan yung production, yun yung bottleneck. And usually ako yung bottleneck. So I try to shoot a couple of videos back to back para then the editors have, something to work on while I'm busy doing other things. Pero yeah, so we're gonna shoot a bunch of stuff after this live stream, but let's do live from the shop first. Sup, Vanity? Yes, of course. Please feel free to ask any questions. In the meantime, I do wanna give a shout out to ASUS who sent over their ROG Strix 790-A. So this is for the Intel CPUs, 12th, 13th, and 14th gen. But if we look closer to the camera, you'll actually see that we have a CPU installed in there already. That's also courtesy. ASUS sent it over so we could test the MOBO. It's actually the kung kita sa camera, but it's a 4900K. So we're excited to test it out. Beautiful motherboard. I mean, it's all white. You've noticed basically ASUS said, let's put a heatsink on everything. So aside from the usual heatsink on the VRM, so a lot of the high-end motherboards have additional capabilities of dissipating heat from the VRMs. Basically, the VRMs are the modules of the motherboard that ensure that only the proper voltage or wattage, voltage, ba? I think voltage. Actually, volts and watts are different. I think it's voltage. The the proper voltage is being sent to the proper parts of the motherboard. So it's step up, step down, whatever. Um, and so those get toasty. And in high-end motherboards, you do have other um, mechanisms. Some motherboards have fans. A lot of them have these very chunky heat sinks to try to dispel the heat from the VRMs. So indicator of quality. I love Q the Q release system. So the problem with usually your primary GPU would go right here, but the GPUs are so big now that usually in motherboards you need to put your finger here and then release the clasp or the latch here. But the GPU is usually so big na nakaharang na siya. You actually physically can't put your finger in, hindi na siya kasha to unlatch the GPU. So there's a button here very far away from the GPU, hindi siya nakaharang, where you just press it and then that releases the GPU. Small thing but super practical. It's been Asus has been doing this for a while with their motherboards. A couple of generations back na we've been talking about it for the last couple of years. Pero yeah, super useful. I can't like my current motherboard is not an Asus. It doesn't have the Q release system. Occasionally when I need to swap out GPUs, it's a real pain in the butt. So I love the Q release system. I've mentioned it before. I will mention it again because it is so useful. And usually in motherboards, the only ones with heat sinks for the storage are maybe like two drives or two slots for the NVMe's. But basically, Asus in this one said everybody gets a heatsink now. So you'll notice that all of the potential areas to install an NVMe SSD have their own heatsink here. And then so they topped up the design na. Again, I'm not sure if it's clear on camera, but it says for those who dare, so it's ROG logo, and then Control WASD over here. So shout out to gamers who would probably be the ones most interested in these kind of motherboards. Um, all white motherboards are quite popular for builds, but it's hard to find them. A lot of them still come in the basic black. So yeah, it's always nice to have these kind of options available to recommend to customers when they ask for it. The back, nobody ever really sees the back except the builders. I've seen some Asus motherboards that have really gone all out with the back design, itong rear end of the circuit board. This one is just kind of plain with the ROG logo. There, to be honest, their other motherboards are a bit more playful. Like they had Pac-Man here in front on the other motherboards. Some of the other motherboards I've seen, di ko na maalala yung mga models, but they had Pac-Man here on the etched on the front, and then on the back there were like other designs. So this one is a bit plain. I mean, it's really just very minor comments. Like, yun nga, 99% of the people, customers don't see this back at all because once you install it in the computer, this is facing the rear of the case, so you really won't see it at all. But I do appreciate the nice flourishes that Asus has, especially in some of their other motherboards. But very nice looking motherboard. We'll do a review on it soon. Um, and they were kind enough to send a CPU that will also test because when we mentioned that kasi kaka-release lang nitong 14 series na to. The 14 series of Intel is basically it's just an updated 13 series. So, hindi mahilig si Intel to continually support generations of CPUs. Usually, after two generations, stop na sila, move on to a different socket. Di na siya compatible. So, you have the 11 5X series, then the LGA 1200, and then now the LGA 1700 socket. That is compatible with the 12th, 13th, and 14th gens. Again, uncommon for Intel to do that. AMD knocked it out of the park with their AM4 socket, the Ryzen 1000, 2000, 3000, 4000, which was supposed to be for OEMs lang, but eventually some made it onto the market commercially. I mean, from retailer to customer. And then the 5000 series, the Ryzen series, so good AM4 platform. Intel not fond of that. And the 14th gen is really just a slight refresh of the 13th gen. The 15th gen, the next step up, I forget which LGA it is. That's the one where they will have um where we can probably see big performance increases. So but anyway, when Intel came out with their 14th gen, I think around 2 weeks ago, we were one of the first shops to sell it. We were able to contact our supplier that hey, we have a particular customer who wants 4900K. Can you get it? They're like, yes, we can. So I think the day after release, we had it already for our customer, and we posted about it. And some of the comments were like, well, how much, voltage, how many watts does the CPU take? to how many watts does the CPU eat up when it's performing on load. So there seems to be some interest in that. So we will talk about it. We will test the 4900K in the ROG Strix 7980-A gaming Wi-Fi motherboard. I don't know how many layers this is. Usually, it looks pretty thick though. Usually, when we talk about premium motherboards, another sign of quality is how many layers there are. The more layers of the board, the easier it is. The cleaner the signal is between the different components. So you just EWAS compatibility issues and really kind of wonky issues like you don't know what's wrong with the computer. And the more layers there are, the more space there is to route all of that circuitry. Di na nahihirapan yung mga circuit designers. Lesser layers means that yeah, there's less shielding between the different lanes, and um, the designers might have had a hard time squeezing everything to connect everything together. So more layers just gives them flexibility and the room that they need to get the job done. I mean, that's why it is a motherboard. Basically, everything about the computer gets plugged in there, and it has to coordinate everything. All of the information running from the CPU to the GPU to the monitor, the input from the peripherals and things like that. Everything runs through the motherboard, and all of the physical lanes, the circuits that link up all of the components. It's better if they have space to operate. Sup, internet? Okay, going through the chat. Sup, Daniel from Facebook. This is actually not a webcam. This is a Sony ZV-E10. Here, I will take a picture of the current setup, then you can see it. So I'm just streaming from my laptop, and this is what it looks like now. So it's my laptop, and then there's the Sony. There is the Sony. Don't focus on me. Focus on there. Yeah, there's the Sony ZV-E10 on a tripod on the table. This is also the primary camera that I use to shoot. We have two. One I keep in my house so that I can shoot at my place. I also use it when I am live streaming. And then another one we have at the shop because I just got so tired of like the shop needs it because they're gonna shoot B-roll. So I have to send over the camera and then ano. So the Sony ZV-E10 is not. I mean, I think it's great. I think it's good, really good value for money. We've tried Canon and we've tried Fuji. My brother Rafael actually uses a Fuji XS10. I decided to try Sony. This is actually the stock lens. It's a decent lens, but not that great. There was a 35 millimeter lens from Sony which broke, which I got and I loved using it, and it broke. We got the Sigma, which is also supposed to be good, but parang mas maganda pa rin yung quality ng Sony. But yeah, the ZV-E10 is not that expensive as cameras go, but I think quality-wise, it's really you can't even really appreciate the quality because I Restream only allows 720p streaming. Like I could stream higher, but then I need to pay more, and I don't want to pay more. Um, but yeah, the videos that we shoot on the channel, like 95% of that is shot on the ZV-E10, or like if it's a short, sometimes on my Pixel 7. Yeah, so great camera, no complaints. Very dummy friendly because I know nothing about cameras, AV work, and things like that, lighting. And the ZV-E10 has worked out quite well. Should I rely on buying PC parts like processors or motherboards? I wouldn't. Not because I mean, of course, I'm biased. I would like you to buy from. I would like you to buy from Hardware Sugar. But we are on Shopee and Lazada, but we don't. We've gotten scammed too many times on that platform, on both of those platforms, and the platforms don't care to help us. Or like, the heck with that, we won't sell a lot of stuff there anymore. Um, but my concern with like buying a CPU or motherboard from either Lazada or Shopee, for CPU, it's shipping. A lot of the CPUs actually now are pretty sturdy. But in my mind, there's still this very intricate kind of nakakatakot kung maalog masyado, ma-jostle because you know they have very sensitive pins. So one, you don't know about the shipping through Lazada for CPUs. For mobos, medyo maganda naman yung pagka-package nung, you know, the box and everything, kahit maalog. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Yes, they toss them around, but the motherboard, although, and I've seen, you know, comments na UP yung motherboard nila kasi I guess hindi masyado maingat yung couriers. It's such a long chain from the shop selling to the actual customer. Um, so one, my issue would be delivery, and number two would be warranty. Although like CPUs don't usually have a problem. In the 5 years or so we've had the shop, it hasn't like it's been only a handful of cases that we've traced the hardware problem to the CPU. So it does happen, but very rarely. More problematic sometimes yung motherboard. I mean that one maybe you really need to RMA somewhere down the line. And then RMAing with the Lazada store may or may not be difficult depending on how easy they are to reach. Um, some other components, baka pwede, but I personally would be a little cautious about buying CPUs and motherboards of Lazada and Shopee. Well, the latest actually Intel is 14th gen. But yes, the 12, 13, 14, those are all still the same current socket, yung LGA 1700. Um, if it's just web dev, like an i5 third gen would be fine. I mean, really, you don't need a lot of hardware. You don't need very top of the line for that. Like really, I'm thinking if you're finding the PC a little slow, you upgrade the RAM. If you don't have an SSD, definitely get an SSD. You'll see a big increase in how fast the computer will run with an SSD if you don't have an SSD yet. Um, and it is the generation that you're on is quite old, so you could probably find parts. Actually, the problem is finding parts. Like if you want to upgrade the CPU, you might have trouble finding the CPU that's still compatible with your socket, with your motherboard socket. But that said, you could probably find secondhand, the Mura. So I wouldn't go all out yet for the 12th gen if it's just web dev. The SRP for the motherboard, I don't know. um, I don't know. I'd have to I'd have to check. I do not know the SRP of the Z790A. I'm sure it's over 20K EC. Yeah. But I don't know the exact price. What's up, Anton? I like the B660 mortar that I see in your inventory. I was confused upgrade since mine too old, but I was inspired. Ah, yes. Yeah, so I have a rig now, but before that, my rig was super old. It was like 4 years old. I mean, it was older than the shop. Like I bought the shop is 5 years old this year. I upgraded just this year. Before that, my computer was older than the shop, and that was an i5 4690K. So fourth generation CPU Intel. And then what I did was I got a 3080 and I stuck it in there. And yes, it's bottleneck, but I was able to play modern games with that. So it's really like, do you feel the need to upgrade now? If it's just for games, you can get a fast GPU. Yes, you're not getting the most efficient use out of the GPU, but it will still allow you to play modern games relatively well. I was quite happy. The earlier streams of Hardware Sugar were all on the i5 4690K with the 3080. So there are game streams, there are live streams. You can't tell the difference in performance. I mean, if you go through the old live streams versus then versus now, like with my R7 3700X and the still the same 3080, there's no difference. So you can really get a lot of mileage even out of old computers. That said, nababagalan ako sa editing process ko. Not so much for games. I'm happy with the gaming performance. But when I have to edit videos, yung preview function or you're scrubbing through the video, it's a real pain in the ass. Like, it loads, but it's stuttery and things like that. And I might buy the bullet and get a 5950X, which is basically the fastest you can get for the AM4 platform. I was thinking 5800X 3D, but for gaming, that's really great. Single core performance. I don't know if DaVinci Resolve, which is the program that I use for video editing, is can properly utilize the number of cores of the 5950X. I'll have to research that. But I'm kind of leaning towards that because I just get really annoyed with the editing. And I think, it's been so long since I've been editing videos for the channel, and I've been kind of living with this performance. And I've tried all of the different hacks or tips online. You lower the timeline resolution, you use proxies and things like that, all of that, but it's still not smooth for me, and it's a real, like, it's gotten to the point where I feel that naaasar na ako, like it's not fun to edit anymore kasi yun nga, ang bagal nung the R7 3700X is not a bad CPU, but well, I think we shoot in 4K, and then I edit on a 2K timeline. Yun nga, even with proxies, it's still stuttery to scrub through. And I don't even do a lot of very fancy edits with layers and masks and things like that. Pero ang bagal pa din eh. So, if I can find a good deal this Christmas, I might bite the bullet. And the Price Watch episode this month, for those of you who are not familiar with Price Watch, we do one episode a month where we track the prices of CPU and GPUs in the Philippines. So local prices, not from Hardware Sugar, from the four largest PC retailers in the country. And for this month, I'm thinking, because we've been doing this since last year, so we have historical data. Yung gagawin natin for this month's price watch is, bumababa ba yung presyo pag Pasko dito sa atin? So I think that's a really interesting video that we will do for this month. Do you think I made a good choice upgrading from Athlon to R5 3600? Yes. I just like had a 10-minute thing like, oh yes, old PCs are fine, but the Athlon is very old. Yes, you did that was a good choice jumping to the R5 3600. The AM there, we get comments sometimes, questions na should I still go for AM4, which is the first 5 generations of Ryzen, kasi dead platform na siya. It's a dead platform in the sense that there are no new CPUs releasing for it, but it's not dead in the sense na wala kang options. Ang dami mong options sa AM4 platform. I'm not just saying that because I'm also on the AM4 platform. From the R5 3600, you have so many other potential upgrade paths to improve your performance when you want to. So the AM4 platform is still very much alive. It's only dead in the sense that there will be no new CPUs. But in terms of variety, what's still available on the market, your options, it's a very viable platform pa rin. So I 100% support your decision jumping from Athlon, which that's a really old platform, not many good options. Like if you're there already and you want to upgrade but still within the same socket, there aren't any good options. The R5 3600 when you want to get serious about gaming, R7 the Ryzen 7 5800 X3D still an excellent CPU for gaming, excellent single core performance. That's still AM4. So ang dami mong pwedeng gawin sa AM4 platform. So yeah, no, don't worry about it. R5 3600 from an Athlon, I would have done the same thing. Sup, Rivy? Thank you for watching from Kuwait. I think you also caught one of our previous live streams. I remember somebody from Kuwait, and then I mentioned the time difference, and then you you kindly put in the time difference now. 5 hours, huh? 5 hour time difference. Well, for editing videos, it's really up to you. Like, what videos do you edit in? And I mean, what resolution are the videos that you edit in? Do you find it too slow nga for you? It's a personal thing. But if you are into videos, an i3, a third generation, sorry, i5, I think it was third generation, might be a little pokey already. You might want to try overclocking it. It's so old already at this point. You overclock it, it shortens its lifespan a little bit, but you're getting better value while you are able to keep it at that overclock if you can get it at a nice overclock. But yes, if it's for video editing and kind of higher resolutions, longer videos, I would suggest upgrading in that case. Kung web dev, no, but kung editing, yes. Yeah. Sub Gamer Zone. Yeah, the staff. Well, because Jay is no longer with us. Like he has new work elsewhere. No, ano naman, no drama naman. I mean, he still pops by the shop and things like that. Sometimes he does also, but Yeah, but he's no longer with the company. So, but he's actually still welcome on the live streams. But I think like there's just Rocky and Ren. It's also my fault kasi like I have difficulty scheduling the live stream. So usually hindi sila available when I want to do like pwede magtanong. Pwede magtanong, I think this last month was in on a Saturday or something. Nung pandemic, madali lang because everybody was stuck at home. But now that everything is opened up already, people have moved on with their lives and ako na lang yung nagpapwede magtanong. Or, people have more fun things to do on a Friday night than help me out with pwede magtanong. So, but everyone, actually all the staff is welcome to join on the live streams if they're free. Best CPU for a 30k build. 30k, a bit hard to be honest. Ryzen 5 5500. Depends if you're getting a GPU or not. We have sub 30k builds na APU, so the Ryzen 5 5600G is very good. The Intel 12500, then you stick a GPU in it, is also pretty good. We actually like that in the shop because price to performance, we think it's a better deal compared to the 13500 na Intel 13th gen. So we still do recommend the 12500 for certain budgets. But it really depends if you're getting a GPU or not. Sup, Erubus Parquet? Nice to see you again. Nico, hello from Canada. I was gonna do a Canadian accent, but I can't remember they stretch their O's, diba? Would I recommend upgrading my Windows 10 to Windows 11? My personal answer is no because I'm still on Windows 10. I do not have any desire to update to Windows 11. I know it's been a long time since Windows 11 came out and it's reasonably stable, but even in the shop, usually we find like yung mga weird errors, and then we check the OS, it's usually Win 11. So personally, I still find Win 10 more stable. My laptop now, which I'm using to live stream this, is Windows 11. It does crash a bit more than I think it should, although I don't know if that's because I stuck in an extra stick of RAM in it. Um, but yeah, my Windows 10 is pretty solid. I don't have any weird crashes. I am more used to the interface of Win 10. So on a personal level, my recommendation would be stick with Win 10 if you're happy with it. And you're using a 13600K. Same, doesn't change my answer. If you're happy with Win 10, I would stick with Win 10. Parang naging pwede magtanong na to. But I will go through a little bit of the shop later. Planning to buy GPU for my R5 5500. My target is productivity and 1080p gaming. Well, like you can stick a 4060 in that. 4060 has excellent 4060 should be slightly below 20,000 now. That's the price what we have it in the shop. A colorful 4060 is around 19,000 something. That is very good 1080p gaming. Some would argue that that's too fast for a Ryzen 5 5500, but I would not subscribe to that. There might be a little bottleneck, but the inefficiency is more than offset by the speed that you're getting from the GPU. So I wouldn't worry about that. Um, you'd get the latest DLSS. We've tried out frame generation DLSS 3, and that adds so many frames. That is ridiculous. We had a video about it last month. So the DLSS 3 for NVIDIA 40 series, you get that. So if the budget allows it, like a 20k GPU, I would recommend the 4060. Um, Lower end of the budget, 6600, if you can find it, is a very good performer in 1080p gaming for the price. If you can find it, yun nga, nahihirapan kami to the 6000 series of AMD. It's a bit hard to find now. They did a good job of flushing out their inventory. I mean, kind of like incentivizing shops with discounts so that the price of the 6000 would decrease and then people would be interested in the latest 7000 series. To be careful though, kasi yung 3060, some stores are still selling the 3060 12 gigabytes for a higher price than the 4060. That shouldn't be the case. There is no scenario where the 4060, no common scenario, at least for gaming, where the 4060 is slower than the 3060. So it's around 20% faster than the 3060, 12 gigabytes. You get people saying that, well, the 3060 has a 12 gigabyte version, the 4060 only has 8 gigabytes. But for gaming, it doesn't matter. The 4060 will be faster for any of the games that you'll play it on. Maybe in the future, but I can't imagine a game na, everybody is so amped up now that, oh, the minimum is 12 gigabytes to play modern games. But um that's I feel that a lot of people jumped on that bandwagon, not necessarily because it's the best advice. It's just because that is the current bandwagon. I mean, for sure, there are some instances where you want more VRAM. We had a customer who we had an inquiry where he does AI research, so that does use up a lot of VRAM. So that's one instance where that would be good. But for a very standard customer, for a standard gamer, 4060 no brainer over 3060 12 gigabytes, and it should be cheaper. Yun nga, you should be careful kasi some shops are still selling it for more expensive, and again, I don't know why. Although that was an interesting point that we discussed in Price Watch for the past 2 months. This one, it depends. If you're on a Ryzen system, Ryzen AM4 is notorious for seeing a lot of performance gain with faster RAM. The limit, the sweet spot is around 3600. But from 2.6 to 3.2 on Ryzen system, you probably will see a little bit of performance gain both from the CPU and from the RAM speed. Um, uh, RAM prices though have gone up. The best timing sana to do something like this would have been 3 months ago. 3 months ago, bagsak yung mga RAM prices, and then after that, uh, it's a real extreme. I was talking about it with our suppliers na on one hand, like yun nga, for the past 3 to 5 months, sobrang bagsak yung mga RAM prices. But now we're swinging to the opposite extreme na pataas sila ng pataas. Really wild swings in the RAM price. So if 3 months ago, I would have said, sure, go for it, especially if you're on a Ryzen platform. But now, medyo mahal. So I wouldn't recommend that now. Can maybe wait for RAM prices to go down again para mas price to performance, better value for money. What's up, Revinjan? I don't know what's up with this excitement. I'm the only one who. I mean, if Hardware Sugar is live streaming, like 99% of the time now, it's me because my brother Rafael is studying, and everybody else yun nga, is usually a little busy. So if it's a live stream from Hardware Sugar, it is most likely me. But hello, Ravijan. Good to see you again. The IG post about the AK400 digital. Ah, yes. It's super nice. I mean, the way they implemented it. They're not Deepcool was not the first ones to implement that. In fact, we have a review of an air cooler that did something similar. But in terms of accuracy, and just in terms of accuracy of temperature readout, and in terms of just the aesthetic, like Deepcool nailed it out of the park. It's the first really mainstream cooler manufacturer to come up with something like that. It does look very cool. Um, but I love Noctua, but in this case, like I would go with the AK Digital. The AK 620 Digital, and again, I love Noctua. Like it's like painful for me to say this, but the AK 620 Digital sometimes outperforms the NHD 15, which is Noctua's top tier air cooler, and it's basically been the air cooler that everything is judged against. So it's one of the big boy air coolers na, really top quality. But the AK 620 Digital can beat it in some tests. The AK 400 Digital is also a pretty good performer. And it has the digital screen, the LCD screen which shows you the temp of the CPU. Um, and as I mentioned in that post, it seems like such a small thing, but when you glance over your computer and then you see the readout already, masaya siya. I mean, it adds something. Also kasi hindi pa siya ganun ka-common. Especially if you have like you're in a work setting and you slap one on your work computer, and your office mates are a bit tech inclined. I mean, mapapalingon talaga sila na, oh, bago yan ah. Parang you don't usually see that. Okay, so let me just do a little tour of life from the shop. I mean, from the shop. The problem is usually I hook up my cell phone so that it's on Wi-Fi, and then I use Droidcam to go around the shop. But to be honest, I got a little lazy. So we're gonna be moving around the ZV-E10. We are using a lot. So this is the laptop I'm using, the VivoBook from Asus. The review of which I also posted online. It's a very nice laptop. I'm very happy with it. OLED screen, so I also use it for media consumption. In a pinch, I can edit on it, both audio and video. Again, not the greatest, but pwede na. Um, I just want to show off the cable management skills of our staff. It just doesn't extend to PC builds. They're also very OC about the wires in the shop. So these are our basic two benches, or sorry, tables where we build and where we test. And you'll notice that because we're constantly swapping out the computers that are here and connecting them to the different monitors, we need to have different cables at the ready. So our staff basically affix these hooks which serve as channels for the cables here. Oh, as I just wrecked it. I hope they're not. I hope no one's watching. Then I can just blame it on somebody else. Oh, yun, I got it back. Hey, all right, our little secret. So yeah, they got the hooks there, and then the power, and then this is for a monitor. So at a glance, it's super easy to pull it out or plug it into whatever you need it to. Small touch, but we make a big, we take great pride na our staff are all techs first before they're sales guys. So we don't have any dedicated sales guys, but we have our techs who also do our sales. Because for us, it's more important that the tech, whoever it is you're talking to when you're interested in buying, for us it's important that they understand the hardware, and who better than techs. And you can really see that the shop is very geeky with with these kind of things. Um, this Migo monitor was from our cheap monitor roundup. Like I think we did last year. We got the three cheapest gaming monitors from Lazada. 1080p, 144 hertz, and Migo is one of them. Still running, I think 6,000 plus or so. Prism Plus monitor, which they sent to us for review, then we got to keep. Then we have another Prism Plus monitor over there, which they sent to us because I think we did something for them. I forgot why we. Yeah, I went to their exhibit dun sa SM or they had like a booth there. And like this monitor was one of the first hardware that a Brad sent to us. Basically, Asus has forgotten about this monitor. They lent it to us for review, I think. And then afterwards, they forgot about it. But we still use it naman every day in the shop for testing and stuff like that. So nasusulit naman, and we're not adverse to giving it back. But we think it's good advertisement also for Asus because it also pops up a lot in the live streams. And customers can see it in the shop. So somebody's NR200P Max still available in our store, but this one is reserved. Somebody bought that one already. I mentioned like how our staff are geeks. This is a custom keyboard for Gerald. I mean, that's his custom keyboard, and hard to see from here, but everybody has a bunch of custom keyboards in their own workspace. Also hard to see. Wait, let me zoom it in. There's our open test bench case from courtesy of Cooler Master. Super useful because it is open test bench, so we can we can swap out parts as needed. Oh, here are some computers. Wow, look at it. This is a massive Asus case. Is this di ata to Helios? Helios ba to? It is a. I'm looking here at the back, but I don't know if it's a Helios case. Parang hindi, parang GT 500 or something like that, if I remember the Asus, That's the one with these really humongous handles. This one is super interesting. Let me let me just. Yep. Whoa, a bit heavy too. So this is a Cougar ITX case. Wait, let me. Yeah, this is a Cougar ITX case. I don't know the model of this, but it's that's what I like about when I come into the shop and like I see different builds that I don't have any experience with, and then like this one is pretty interesting design. So you have a mesh here on the side. I guess you have intake here, although this isn't great for intake, this front panel. Can you see that on the camera? Yep. And then over here on the side is where the inputs are, so the USB and things like that, and the power button. So it's an interesting ITX design, which I've never come across before. And put that down before I break it. Yep. It falls. It is quite heavy, actually. Here we have an AK620 for cleaning. Let me just check what's this in for? Don't know. The note does not say what this is in for. I think it's a deep cool case also. Um, you notice here, I bet this is an ASRock motherboard. You notice the design here. ASRock likes doing this to their motherboards. Let me check. Now I'm curious. Let me just look on the side. Oh wait, is it ASRock or ROG? I don't think. I don't think so. Okay, wait. The case is Lian Li. Sorry, it's a Lian Li case. And just to satisfy my curiosity, the Mobo is no way. That's ROG. Yes, yes. ASRock B550 Steel Legend. Rocking an AK620. A little dirty. Maybe it's in for cleaning. Not too sure. One of the videos actually I'm gonna shoot after this live stream is I looked at the data for the last 3 months, and basically the video is how long does it take for Hardware Sugar to do X? So how long does it take for us to do cleaning and things like that? So I looked at the data over the past 3 months, and then I'll break it down in the video so that you hmm, filter, you know what to expect when you bring your PC to us, and for whatever um whatever you need, what the usual time frame is for that. So thank you to also the Deep Cool for sending us these review units. So we do sell this in shop, but they sent over a review unit. Um, Gotta give some of this back. So we have the whole line actually: AK400 digital, AK500 digital, the AK620 digital somewhere in there also. We have a low profile cooler also, the AN600. But spoiler alert, we pitted it against the Noctua, and that might not have been the best choice because Noctua won that round. It's really hard to beat Noctua for cooling. Yeah, so the store is pretty neat now. Sometimes kasi medyo magulo siya eh, but I think the guys were able to send out most of the builds that we had that were pending around the time before the long break. Although there are 4 computers here nga, queued up. We do have a new queuing system now, so it's easier for me to track what's going on in the shop. Okay. Budget SSD SATA. Kingston is popular. Although I'm not a big fan of Kingston, especially the NV2. The NV2 drives, I'm not a big fan. They're very popular, but I'm not a big fan of the NV2s. Kasi Kingston is not very particular in what parts go in. So yes, you might have gotten a good unit, but then you might get a bad unit. Yun nga, hindi sila very for the NV2 line, di sila ganun ka focused on what parts go into it. Basta anong makuha nilang available, and it's like a hodgepodge and they slap it together and they call it, oh, NV2. Although NV2 is NVMe, you're asking for SATA. WD Green would be another choice. I like the Crucial MX500. I'm using the Crucial MX500 1TB now. I've had it for years. I've had no problems with it. I wouldn't call it budget per se. Like mas mahal yung MX500 line over the other Crucial lines and other competitors. But I think it's in the long run, it's very good value for money. I've been using that MX500 for years with no problems. Sounds good. Pop on by. We are open November 2 onwards. Not only an avid and loyal fan and proud daughter sugar baby, also a recipient of personal delivery. Thank you. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. That was a good video. That video actually, lumabas kami sa Tom's Hardware because of that video. Like, Tom's Hardware ran an article basically saying that, well, based on some shop in the Philippines, here are the return rates for some brands. So it was a big kick for me personally to see us on Tom's Hardware. And it got picked up by a bunch of other news channels or, online news stuff as well. Um, that's the kind of video I'd like to make because it showcases the unique viewpoint that we can bring to YouTube. I mean, there's so many big tech YouTubers, Linus, Gamers Nexus. Now they all have their own thing. Linus likes doing these bonkers projects, very down to earth presentation style. Gamers Nexus very in depth, but none of those guys have an actual shop. So in terms of volume, we have that very interesting. We have a very interesting source of data because we can really say that we've sold 200 of these motherboards. Ilan bumalik? Parang ganon. So that's an interesting point of view that we can bring that some viewers might find interesting that other tech YouTube channels don't have that viewpoint. Also, of course, that we're in the Philippines, we can get access to certain items that might not be available in the West or not that well known in the West. So we really put a lot of effort into making content na hindi siya gaya-gaya lang, hindi siya cookie cutter or copycat from what the other channels are doing, but what can we do that is from our unique perspective? Um, I'm not the best to answer this because I don't have one, so I can't say from personal experience. Plus, I had a video recently. I think it was just last month where I said na I don't quite understand bakit uso ngayon yung mobile gaming, PC mobile gaming. Kasi the whole point of getting a PC is that you have kind of the hardware in place and you can put it up on a big screen and it's more immersive that way and things like that. Although I do acknowledge that that's really my own point of view. If you enjoy PC handheld gaming, more power to you. Enjoy what you have. I do acknowledge that for some games, bagay naman. Um, but yeah, I might be the wrong person to ask about that. Kasi I haven't tried it naman firsthand. So I'm a little wary about shooting my mouth off about something na di ko pa naman nasubukan. Dual chamber cases. I can't really, they're a bit uncommon. I can't think of any that come to mind. Probably Lian Lee has or the height cases. I'm not sure if the height cases are what you have in mind. But they are that kind of wraparound. The Lian Lee Techwear I think also has because Techwear is very good at copying the more premium brands. And the copies are usually pretty good. I mean, overall. Oh, thanks, Erubus, Parquet. QBX ITX. It was pretty heavy. You notice the auto lighting? When I look up to the camera, it lightens up from the CV10. But when I bend down to look at the laptop, parang it darkens. Or ako lang ba yun? Baka ako lang yun. Uh, I don't know what your setup is. If you change your CPU cooler, even if you just repaste, depending kung matagal na since naka-repaste ka, yes, you You can probably get the temperatures down. Better cooler, better case, repasting, all of those things can bring down your CPU temperatures. For me, cost to value for money yung MX500. Um, I find them as reliable as Samsung at a cheaper price. And yun nga, with storage, I'm always a little apprehensive about using medyo budget. Yeah, everybody says don't use budget for PSUs. I agree with that usually, except for office, then budget PSU, generic PSU is fine. For storage, nobody actually says don't use budget storage. But for me, dun ka pa nga dapat mas kabahan eh. Kasi, you store a lot of things on your computer and it might not be the best if, that computer suddenly crashes on you because the SSD blanked out or whatever. So, for me, sobrang sulit yung MX500. Might be a little pricier than some of the other options, but it's really reliable. And it is cheaper than Samsung, which is the market leader when it comes to SSDs. Yes, you can. That's basically how the secondhand parts get sold. Somebody messages us on Facebook. We say, yeah, it's available. Although usually if it's online, if it's listed on the sheet, then it's available. Here is how you can send us the money, and after that, they arrange for delivery. Yeah, so please do message us. We are closed now, but tomorrow we'll be back open. Tomorrow, November 2 onwards, we are open. Corsair with the Crystal 280X series. Like we carried that case a little bit. I'm not sure if that's the one that started it. That's the one that you're referring to. That was a very interesting case also. The form factor kind of flat. That's really interesting to build in. Ookies. Okay, we've been running for 50 minutes plus. I think I basically covered. Yeah, so not too much news from the shop. Oh, sorry. I did want to mention the Z790A gaming Wi-Fi motherboard from ASUS. The Wi-Fi antennas are also white. So just, thematically everything in place. Um, J Pasqua, no. I would, if you have a 3090, best to wait na lang. Like the 50 series will offer you better price to performance. The 3090 is still a beast. What do you care about DLSS 3 which is exclusive to RTX 40 series, when, the 3090 can generate the frames on its own? You do have access to DLSS 3.5, which is ray reconstruction. So I wouldn't, I don't see the need to upgrade if you already have a 3090. Just wait for the 50 series. That would be better value for money. Um, yes, so we are open November 2, tomorrow onwards. I'm trying to think if I want to say something else about the shop, but that's basically it. We do have content. Um, so just a little bit live from the shop and live about me. I'll be away November 3 to 5, or I'm going on a short trip, but just locally. But we do have content scheduled for the entire long weekend. So today was live from the shop. Tomorrow I'll live stream Crypto Watch. Super interesting what's going on. Like the price has shot up. And I hate it because I shorted. Can never get the timing right. It's always pain in the ass. Pisses me off. But anyway, tomorrow is Crypto Watch. November 3 is a review video on an ROG keyboard, the Falcon Ace. Love that keyboard actually. I don't even like modern keyboards. Like I'm not a keyboard guy, but the Falcon Ace was really good. I miss it. That's when I know that I really like something, when a brand sends it to us. I use it, and then I send it back, and then afterwards I still think about it. That's when I get in trouble. Like I was I was that way with my monitor, the PG48UQ, the first monitor I tried, the OLED, beautiful monitor. I ended up buying it for myself. So I'm trying not to think about the Falcon Ace. But it is a very good keyboard. I really enjoyed using it. The review video comes out on Friday. Then Saturday we have a short on an EXA headset. And on Sunday we have another short on another EXA headset. Hopefully I can do all of those things before I leave on Friday. Um Long story short, at least, for like, this is the MH670. I'm very happy with the audio quality. I'm very happy with the mic quality. The EXA, the one in particular, it's cheaper, but you can. It's not bad for the price, but if you go up a bit higher, you can really tell the difference in quality. We do sell this guy, the MH670. I'm not saying that just because we sell it, but this is the primary headset that I use for gaming. If I'm not using my Elgato Wave 1 mic, which is my setup at home, then I use this one, the MH670. I really like this headset. The EXA ones yun nga, are not bad for the price, but if you're willing to go up a little higher, I think you'll really be happy with something like the MH670 or Corsair has a bunch of headsets and things like that. Um, yeah, but yes, so we have content from today up to Sunday. Nah, sup, sup, Dante. Okay, wait. Let me um see. Let me just do the questions real fast. Like no explainer, just go. 3070 with an 8700K? Yes. Yun nga, I was running a 3080 with an i5 4690K. Okay pa yun. So yes to your question. Good PSU for 7900 XTX? Yes, I would recommend either the 750 watts we have from FSP or the 850 watts that we have from FSP. Both on both available. Yes, there are a bunch of things that Ren needs to edit. Sup Dante? I am actually visiting somewhat near you, Dante, pero not as north. Yun nga, I'm leaving for a short trip on Friday. Yes, thank you. Oh, I will look that up. I'm not familiar with a lot of the keyboards now. But I will look that up because I am in the market for a new keyboard. I was playing Cyberpunk yesterday, and then I was in that quest where you have to do melee combat, parang it's one on one, and then like I couldn't move forward. There was something wrong with my W button, so I paused the game, jumped into Windows, opened up Word, and it's true when I was pressing W, walang lumalabas dun sa document. So my keyboard is very old already, so I do need a new keyboard. I will check that out. Okay, last tech question. 4060 versus 3070. The 3070 has better performance. So, um, if you have the if it's an option like you're buying either of those two and you can afford the price jump to the 3070 has better performance. Yes, you do miss out on frame gen, but DLSS 3, but 3070 solid performer for 2K 1440p gaming. 4060 you can really only use it for 1080p. You can kind of stretch a little bit to 2K, but you'd have to lower down some settings. It's not meant really to play 2K. So 3070 is the superior card. If your budget allows it, I would get a 3070 over a 4060. All right, thanks so much guys for joining me for another live from the shop. I am off to shoot more videos, and please do tune in tomorrow for Crypto Watch. I don't know what time that'll be. Friday for the keyboard video, and Saturday and Sunday for the two extra shorts. Bye guys. Oh, JP from YouTube. Sige. I do recognize the name. I will take your question. 4060, almost on par with 3060. Yes, I agree. 3070 is the better pick. Although the 4060 is roughly 20% faster than the 3060. So there is a noticeable uplift from the 3060. Oh man, it's I I will talk about it tomorrow. Why the sudden jump to the moon was such bad timing for me. Enjoy the long weekend. Stay safe out there if you're going to the cemetery or if you're traveling far. And I will see you tomorrow on Crypto Watch. Bye, guys.